I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired for my last job. Hot wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Beat my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way we'll ever change. Ain't no harm by the things we do, or the trouble that we get into. Other than a wild hair once in a while. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent, December 3rd, Giving Tuesday. We'll get into all of that. But first, the Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerlam Hay Feed and Ranch Services. Stop on by for all you need. Rain is coming. You might want to go get your 21-7-14 blend, get it down. Get that Bermuda popping. Maybe your winter rye overseed.
51 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high of 66. 70% chance of rain right now, and it is drizzling a little bit.
But not much rain
in the
today,
crossroads. You were just on a roll there. I don't think it's anywhere near time to put down any 21-7-14 blend, but you were rolling, so I just let you go.
If you got the rye down, you might want to green it up.
That's all you need is, isn't it interesting that we have a little bit of drizzle this morning after having a huge grass fire yesterday? You know it was right at Stockbauer Farms.
Was it?
I mean, on one side of Joey's driveway, it's black all the way to 1686, and on the other side, it's his pasture. So, yeah, I mean,
well, if he'd stop discarding those cigarette butts as he drives home so nobody catches him smoking.
No, everybody seems to think that they saw and this is why it's so important when it's this dry. There was a piece of equipment on the back of a lowboy trailer that was dragging a chain, and the sparks were jumping into the ditch, and the wind was blowing such that it just ignited that. And, man, you haven't seen it until you've seen rose hedge go up, and it's hot, and it's popping, and it's putting out black smoke. A lot of the land out there.
What good way to clear the fence line.
Well, no kidding. And a lot of that land, but the problem is about every fourth post is cedar, and they're burnt in half.
Yeah.
But a lot of that land, it burns so quick and so hot, the trees are still fine. It's just the underbrush that's gone. It's going to actually, when it pops in the spring, it'll look better than it's ever looked.
Yeah.
But it was a mess. I talked to Kenneth Sexton. That's a Precinct 4 County Commissioner, Kenneth Sexton. That's his area. And he was out there and spent some time at the scene. Victoria Fire Department, the county folks from the airport, volunteers, numerous trucks. There was a 6,000-gallon water tanker out there, but very, very cool. The airport, if you drive in by the airport, you see these red and white, look like crop dusters.
Yep.
They have belly dumps, and they flew over, and I've got video. I posted one yesterday on Facebook.
Where do they get the water from? Page. They don't take it from
they go to the airport, and they get this red chemical solution that when they drop it, it coats everything. It's sticky.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yes, it is.
They don't just use water like they used to.
But it keeps it from. That's Joey's driveway. See how it's black?
Yep.
And here comes the plane. This guy's coming straight from the airport, and he is not high, as you can see, and comes right over the top of Stockbauer's farm there, and then right here on the other side, he dropped it on the. Isn't that cool?
On the stuff that wasn't burnt yet.
Yeah, and they put down a barrier of that. That's there was cool. Also a helicopter there, Ash, from from Smithville, came over from like the forest. There's a
Yep.
big forest shop, and he had this bucket, and he was dropping his bucket into neighboring ponds,
Scooping up the
picking
water.
up 250, 300 gallons at a time and dropping it on the fire. It was a
Cool.
big production. We were out there
Could
for
have been a big
several
fire.
hours. It was big. Yeah, it got out of control quick.
Ricky King checking in. Scott Tomko, Daniel Wade White on the podium this morning. Kendra Douglas, Wendy Hughes Garcia, Scott Snow, Arena Scherer. Good morning. Micah Patton, Judge Posey, Lisa Poole, Bobby Leister, Will Vincent, Marvin Mickish, Amanda King. Good morning. Greg Garcia, Joel Gomez. Good morning to you.
I'm expecting to get a report from Kenneth Sexton at some point. I mean, we'll have a conversation where we will discuss the numbers of people that were present. There were firefighters everywhere, volunteers, other folks. So very cool. Now, one thing that was cool, if you're ever in this position, my brother-in-law, Johnny Stockbauer, had a backpack blower. And as the fire was just burning at the brush level where the grass was only, say, 6 inches tall, he walked along the edge and blew the fire back onto itself. So the wind, say, is coming out of the south at 10 miles an hour. Well, he's blowing wind at it from the north at 80 miles an hour. And when it burned up the fuel that was there, it quit. It accelerated the fire at that spot, and then it just turned all to dirt, and they just walked along the edge and put out a long 100-yard stretch of fire. So are we not on magic?
I got a report we weren't, so I'm just checking to see if we.
Very interesting.
But everything looks like it's on here that I know of. So
I don't know what's happening over there. It could be the Bill Posey effect.
Joel Gomez says about 100 acres burned. Could have been a lot worse.
I would think that would be a light number, Joel. But I mean, I'm sure you've got a great source.
He has EMS.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah, no.
I just,
Stephanie Connie, good morning.
poof.
Tammy Williams, Jordan Glass. Oh, now it's working. Good. Thank you, Daniel Wade White. Appreciate that update. Sarah Elkins, still some smoldering piles this morning. Thankful for all that help. Forestry for bringing out the bulldozer. Great teamwork. There you go.
Yeah, no house is lost.
Mike Bloschke was probably there.
I was hoping Mike would show up. Remember, he's got that big tanker truck with the joystick and the big. They could have used him.
Yeah. Stephanie Connie, good morning. Sheriff Louderback checking in. We're going to be dropping, I believe, Scott Taylor of Texas Music fame.
He's going to come by here in a little while.
Come by in a little while.
Sheriff
So we're
Louderback,
gonna-
I spoke with him yesterday. He's in Austin. He's there for the orientation for new representatives. And very encouraged. He and I had a conversation over the weekend. He's already putting together a bill package of things that are, I mean, he's more than going to hit the ground running. It's going to be very interesting to watch his impact on Texas legislation.
Jarrett McCrugan checking in. Good morning. I don't know where to start, but this is kind of an interesting story. It's a little odd, different.
Does it border on minutia?
Maybe, but when we're lacking honeybees in the world, and apparently the World Beekeeper Awards were going on.
Right, because that's just behind the Oscars and the Emmys and the ESPYs.
It is their Emmys and ESPYs and
Right.
Oscars. But the World Beekeeping Awards this year will not award a prize for honey, or next year, because of fraud in the global supply chain. Check this out. 24 of 25 honey jars from major retailers in the UK alone failed their authenticity tests.
It says, looks like we have a sticky situation on our hands.
Clever writing this morning on the Average Joe, not to be confused with that Morning Joe crap on MSNBC.
Right, the copper clappers.
But apparently, they're just using cheaper sugar substitutes or sugar-based substitutes. And even going back as far as 2019, when the awards were held in Montreal, 45% of the honeys that were entered were rejected because they were messed with.
So 45% of the people that entered honey, they knew they were cheating.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
You would think because, yeah.
In 22, 39 of 145 honeys were withdrawn for suspected adulteration. Guess that means,
Yeah, they were messed with.
yeah.
Crazy. EU investigation last year found 46% of imported products were suspected to be fraudulent, including
all 10
Wow,
from the UK.
no wonder they've got such bad teeth.
That's
They're not
right.
using honey. They're just jacking up sugar and
Right?
coloring it yellow.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was the big winner, Brian Small says.
Joe Gomez says it was at least 100 acres.
Oh, okay.
There's Judge Zeller checking in. Hey, Junior Samples checking in from the Czech Republic, I believe. We're huge in the Czech Republic. We're gargantuous.
Do you think that in our tendency to be homers, since everything went well yesterday with the grass fire, and since that is under the county's purview, should we give Judge Zeller some credit for the great job by the county on the grass fire?
I think he needs to know they did a good job.
I think he needs to know there was a grass fire.
Yeah,
He may not even know there was a grass fire.
I'm sure the county's incident command center was not
Absolutely.
involved.
It was a
but-
great job, though.
Yeah.
Great job by everybody involved.
Yeah. Let's see what else is happening today in and around the world. I don't know if it's a sign of the economy. Consumer confidence, but Black Friday sales, apparently online shopping on Thursday and Friday will surpass the record $101 billion. That's globally, U.S. accounting for about 25 billion of it. Sales up, early estimates, 7 to 8% from last year. But store sales declined this year by 8%. So that's a wash then, right? If in-store sales are declining by 8% through Black Friday, but online sales are up 7 to 8%,
It's a wash.
it's pretty much a wash. It'd be interesting to see if, and that's a generalization, I know, but that's assuming that people who would have shopped at, let's say, Target, decided that 8% of them didn't shop there and decided to shop at Target.com, right?
How
And
much
maybe
do
not,
you
but
think
still.
as online sales, and when I was a kid, if you ordered something from, say, the J.C. Penney catalog,
Yeah.
please allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery.
Well, they still had to make it.
Yeah, but that's unacceptable now, right? So you've got delivery sometimes the same day. And in the bigger cities, in Houston and Dallas, quite often in the same day, you get what you ordered, say, on Amazon. Do you think that the COVID pandemic may have exposed a much wider swath of the country to online shopping, and they found out that they liked it? Is that possible? Because I never, I think once in the last year, Dawn asked me to go to the Sephora that's at Kohl's. And I walked in and went, oh, wow, this is kind of a nice store. There was a time I might have walked through that store just to go to the store.
Yeah.
Those days are over. I don't do that. B. Small says, congrats on the grass fire.
Yeah, I think it changed some people's habits. The one thing I still haven't done.
Did it change yours?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, there's a few things that I can't buy here, so you have no choice.
Do you ever order the pickup HEB?
Nope, I've not done
Me either. I think we did once or twice, but in general, I like to. There's so many things that to me are subjective. I like to pick out what I buy at the store.
No, I agree. Plus, then there's somebody else's hands on the fresh fruit and veggies.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. As opposed to the hands that picked it, packed it, and then put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you.
And then covered it with that waxy coating that keeps fruit
Oh.
from dying.
Yep.
Yeah. What are they saying? The electronics, toys, and TVs were the major drivers for sales. Other discounts, apparently, according to the Wall Street Journal, just didn't seem to get people shopping. So if not for those three segments, sales might not have been as good as they were.
You know, our boys are almost getting to the point, 16 and 12, where you can buy Caden a really nice pair of boots. Christmas is done. You know, I don't have to buy toys anymore. It's like, you want to buy toys, get a job.
That'd be a pair of ski boots in Canada.
Right? Well, I'll tell you what we do a good job of as aunts and uncles is Donnie and I buy stuff for the little kids that's practical. Like, we'll go to the outlet mall and grab each one of the nieces and nephews a pair of Adidas shoes. Yeah. Well, yeah, they're $25, which is a really nice Christmas gift for a niece, but they're the shoes, and then the parents, it's something the parents don't have to buy.
Yeah. Throw it now.
You don't see Commander Cody walk by, but you hear it. Ever since he took up tap dancing, and he's got those little clippity clops on the back of his boots.
Joe Gomez says, COVID, mall shootings, long lines because of self-checkout. You pick out why store sales are down.
Right.
I think that, and I think
a good melee.
Yeah, like Brian Small says, don't forget the good melee.
But I'm sorry.
Didn't see those videos this year. Maybe people just decided to actually not video them, or they was too busy. All the kids that would have started those were too busy trying to plant flags on the opposing team's football fields on the weekend.
Junior says I buy him practical stuff like an EpiPen. Though you'd have to seriously have the death wish.
Can't buy an EpiPen for $25 anymore.
To whip out a gun at a public venue in Victoria, Texas, because chances are a third of the people in the room, including grandmothers, are packing heat.
Yeah. Tammy Williams says, I can order something online and get it quicker than waiting in the Walmart checkout lines.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's a true story. Walmart, there's certain things, I love to be able to go in, but it is forever to get out of those places.
Although I walked in there on Sunday and somebody actually said good morning. A staff member said good morning to me.
You can't prove it. Mark Kirk says kids want new rims for their cars. Yeah, that's
when you tell them,
if you didn't
go get a job.
If you should have gotten your phone out and say, man, I just want to capture this.
There's no way. It was such a shock. I wasn't expecting
you were stunned.
it. I was stunned.
You walked right into the jalapeno cart and they all fell everywhere.
Fell over.
Oh.
Cans were everywhere.
Sure.
Just wasn't expecting it.
I saw a video. What would you do? And what would you do? I saw a video the other day of a little girl. She couldn't have been no way she was over 6. And she was throwing a fit about something. As these videos happen to do, you come in while the action's already taken place.
Yeah.
And she's grabbing meat. There's one of those end caps on one of those, waist-high coolers that runs down the middle. She's grabbing meat and throwing it on the ground and stomping on it. Grabbing meat and throwing it on the ground and stomping on it. And I'm just asking, if you were walking by, what would you do?
What was Mom doing? Filming it?
Well, somebody was filming it, and the mom was talking to her. I do have to tell you, I would probably have to put up a GoFundMe because I would smack the kid in the dome. I just know I would. I'd be like, pow, stop it. And then I'd probably end up smacking the mom who came over and wanted some of her equality. I'd give her a little dose of equality, a little pop. Come back when you're not feeling so jerky. I don't know, man.
It's probably staged too.
Well, it could have been, but
still, yeah.
She's jumping up and down. It looked like
I hope she's buying all that meat.
Round steak, tenderizing that round steak. I'd have had to give her like a little corporal punishment. And anytime, just for the record,
on the kids, but I certainly
right. Any corporal punishment of someone else's kid, it's going to haunt you.
Heads out of their butts.
Yeah. So you would just verbally abuse the family.
Every single one of them.
Don't you think?
I'd have looked for them down the aisles too that were trying to run away from the kid.
Don't run away from me. Yeah.
Get over here and control your little heathen.
Feral.
Stuart
your
Martin, good morning.
feral
Tammy
kid.
Keeling. That's a tough one. What would you do? I'm not buying that meat.
See, Brian Small says, smack that rump roast.
Scott Tomko says, smack the mom twice, one to take home to the husband.
There you go. True story.
Here's the problem.
I see Scott
Society,
Tomko at the
here we
store.
are in
He ain't doing that.
society, though. Here's the reality of it. I mean, why people don't want to get involved. A, you're in Texas, they might be packing. But let's assume it wasn't in Texas. You're going to get sued as somebody who stepped in to try to stop it. You're not going to have good Samaritan laws on your side in this one because nobody was getting hurt or beat up except for an already dead animal part.
Right.
But you were just trying to teach a segment of society that should know better and doesn't, that they should know better. But you'll get sued. And somewhere along the way, they'll find a jury sympathetic enough, and you'll be out $50,000 to $100,000.
Good morning, Katina
Plus
Arterberry.
court costs.
It is interesting that like, and I'll throw you another scenario. You know, I think that we all have, for different reasons, a tendency to have some stored up anger. I mean, I think Americans have been angry, and maybe it'll change for some of us when Trump takes office, and it'll be enhanced for others.
And the rest of those folks are leaving the country anyway, so good riddance to you.
But a lot of the other side, they're going to become triggered and unhinged by everything that happens.
They already are. I mean, look at what they're saying about Kash Patel. Oh, he's unqualified. The guy served in national security councils. He's been advisors at all levels of that sort of thing.
I just don't think it's our place as individuals to question the qualifications of cabinet appointees. Let Congress do that. That's what they do. We don't need to vote on every, cabinet member. I don't know that guy. Who am I to judge that guy? If you don't base everything on what you hear in the media, then you can be very confused. But let's say you're walking in front of a Target store and a person, man, woman, child, say it's an adult.
Somebody who identifies as a person.
Right. A man in heels, clinger, comes running out of the store, pushing a basket full of stuff, and there's a clerk behind him going, "Sir, you haven't paid for that. Sir, you're stealing." Do you get involved at all? I asked Sheriff Louderback,
You stick your foot out as they're running by.
Yeah, but I've got a license to carry. Do I pull out a gun and hold the guy there until? And he said, absolutely not.
I don't think you can. There's no reason for you to. Now you're brandishing a weapon.
Isn't that a little odd if you think about it? Now I get it. We don't want just the average person pulling a gun on somebody, but you would think that someone that's, it's kind of like a citizen's arrest. I know that I
could you citizens arrest him at that point?
I would tackle somebody in the parking lot. I know I would at that point. I just would be like, "Are you kidding me? You're not taking that." Or I would at least go over and get their license tag and all that. We've got to keep a crackdown on that stuff.
Probably
a stolen car
too,
yeah.
Speaking of cars,
Scott Tompkins, Stars beat the Utah Hockey Club. He said that in his yachting voice.
Johnny Houghton asking if we heard what Trump said to Trudeau about tariffs. You typed that out, Johnny. I did not hear that, but I think it's interesting.
Whatever he said, Trudeau got on a plane, flew down there after one tweet.
I think that's the interesting part is you got world leaders lining up at Mar-a-Lago and they're not even worried about the White House anymore.
No,
at this moment.
Well, the White House is a dead issue. I saw a deal yesterday. If you don't think this is staged, now we've all watched Joe Biden try to walk across the beach. We've watched Joe Biden try to walk up the airplane stairs. We've watched Joe Biden fall off of bicycles. There was a picture yesterday of Joe Biden standing on about a 4-rung stepladder. And he's like he's smiling at the camera while Jill is handing him ornaments to put on the White House Christmas tree. Are you buying that at all? Do you people fall for these photo ops? I mean, the minute that the guy took the picture, some Secret Service guy rushed up and grabbed Joe and got him off the ladder.
Maybe he was wanting to be one of the 100,000 people who get hurt in emergency rooms by falling off a ladder every year.
Whoa. Hey, hon, want to hand me that? Whoa. BJ Nelson says, we're headed to the Chamber of Commerce Transportation Conference this morning at the ETC. Who else is joining us? Great event. Congratulations, BJ, and great use of the ETC. I'm probably going to pass on that one, but just because I already take blood pressure medicine, I don't want to go into a coma.
I think I just found what Donald Trump said to Prime Minister Trudeau. Let's take our break, and then we'll get to it on the other side of the break. That's called
a
cliffhanger. We're building up anticipation. Yep.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. That's an offer. Natsoffer.com. Sales, service, great folks, great vehicles, great deals. All of that's an offer on Navarro, just down the road from higher prices on the Navarro Motor Mile. The flags are flying. People are buying. If you don't buy it today, they'll be there tomorrow.
Go in and ask for Tommy Taylor and give Tommy first of all, tell him thanks for supporting Wade and Carter and tell them to have a happy holiday. Tommy's a fine gentleman, great guy. He'd love to talk to you about your next car.
Yeah.
Brand us. They have helped brand us. Go in today. You can go see Cody's handiwork. You can watch the Wade and Carter program on YouTube, live or anytime. Go in and just type Wade and Carter into the search, and we will pop up by the day. We'd love for you to go and like and share those videos and kind of grow our presence again on YouTube. We have a pretty good presence there.
Cool thing on YouTube is if you subscribe to our channel, you'll get a notification saying that the show's coming up. The show's coming up, so that's pretty cool. You might not want that.
Then we can harass you like politicians
absolutely.
do. Arcade Development, Daniel Rollins, let him help you with your next project.
He says hit them with the steak that toddler was stomping on.
Right? Yeah, that's what you do. Is you grab the steak the toddler had
and smack the
We're
mom
going to
and
get
dad
Daniel to
upside
come
the head.
in and give us his story, talk about his time in the Marine Corps. And I love doing business with veterans and people that are entrepreneurial. They inspire me, and Daniel certainly fits that bill. Reach out to RK Development Group for all of your building opportunities. Same thing with the VCS companies. They've just been doing it for 50 years. Started out with a ranch radio, and the next thing you know, they're selling everything. If it communicates with you, with authorities, with a camera, with
anybody,
reach out to the VCS companies.
Went Services for all your electrical needs. Give Went a call. Backup generators. I'm sure they've still got some deals on. It was Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Get yourself a good deal. Plus, it's one-stop shop.
Absolutely.
They will sell it to you, install it, service it. You don't have to try and be the contractor and get all the stuff.
No, they do a great job.
Yourself.
And you saw that BJ Nelson checked in, folks, White Trash Services and White Trash Site Services. Whether you want to just have weekly or bi-weekly trash service in the counties, or if you need a dumpster dropped off, or if you need a site cleared, they can do it. Reach out to them, 550-1826. Stephanie Connie says, I fell off the ladder. So how you read things, punctuation matters. I fell off the ladder putting up my Christmas lights Sunday. Didn't get hurt, though. My dog barked at me. So is the fact that her dog barked at her what kept her from getting hurt?
Maybe so.
That's what I wonder. Or do you think she landed on her butt and then her dog barked at her?
I'm thinking,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Dog probably got scared. Hopefully she didn't land on the dog.
I'm with you. Junior Samples on a 165-kilometer-per-hour high-speed train over in Europe.
Cool.
What? Oh, you want to go back to
Sure, might
us?
as well.
I've had so many compliments that when we leave that screen up that we look better.
Well, that's true.
So I apologize for not.
Well, if
bringing
you'd
it
stop
down.
wearing the Fetterman attire,
I can't.
it might,
It's chilly in the morning.
I'm sure you've got better sweatshirts than those.
I don't know. This is Adidas. It's
Don't care what it is.
feel that.
Oh,
Feels like rubber kind of. No, not that. This.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of rubbery.
Yeah.
So
I landed on my soft grass, then the dog barked.
So Justin Trudeau came down to Mar-a-Lago on Friday, Black Friday. It's not a holiday in Canada, so he was actually on the job.
Because everything's free in Canada. It's like a big country club. You just
Complaining
sign for
about the tariffs that Trump threatened, with a caveat, right, that Canada and Mexico have to take care of immigration, which, by the way, Mexico is already doing. Mexico's president basically told the caravans to stop coming through their country. Oh, and guess what? They listened.
it. Yeah.
Tells you all you need to know about how involved the Mexican government, aka the cartels, were in pushing those caravans through.
No doubt.
I'm sure there was more to it than that, but that's kind of the gist.
I
in the
read a
media over
letter
the weekend.
from Madam Scheinbaum where she basically, she said, hey, look, you need to realize that General Motors, Chrysler, and others are some of our biggest exporters back to you. You're going to pass that tariff along to your people. And Trump just said,
Well, but there's the interesting there is some truth to that.
sure, in the short run.
No, but under the way cars are made in North America now, they're not all made in the U.S.
Right.
There are full models of vehicles that are sold in the U.S. that are made in Canada, made in Mexico, by U.S. automakers, GM, Chrysler, Ford. And the same thing with U.S. cars that are made and shipped to Canada. I don't know as much about Mexico. I'm sure there's a few.
Well, what nobody pointed out to Ms. Scheinbaum is you don't put like some blanket tariff on the world. It would be nothing for Trump's administration to say we're exempting auto parts that come back into the United States. It should be that simple. It's what you do.
But
So you don't punish your own people.
But I guess when Prime Minister Trudeau complained about the tariffs that would hurt the Canadian economy, Trump suggested Canada become the 51st state.
Did he really? I like it. Might as well. I mean, it's a huge landmass. It's only got as many people as the state of Texas.
Jared McCrugan says the U.S. would be crazy to take Quebec and Trudeau. Yeah, Quebec.
That's beautiful.
Quebec would finally separate from Canada, and then
Is that what they want to do anyway? They want to be French.
They did in the 80s. Yeah, but no, they wanted to be. Well, at some point they thought the French would take them, and the French don't want them.
Are they the arrogant folks in Canada? We're from Quebec.
Yeah,
we're
they're
better
them
than
and
you?
folks from Toronto. They're all right there. They're about neck and neck.
They think they're better than those of you rednecks.
It's
out on
Ben
the
Johnson, Carl Lewis in the 80s. It's kind of
Right.
race for arrogance in Canada. It's Quebec and Ontario. Mostly Toronto, but
plain. Toronto's the worst, huh?
well, they think they're the center of the universe.
Interesting. The Blue Jays just aren't that good. What about the Argonauts? Isn't that Toronto?
Grey Cup champs, yeah.
Maybe they are the center of the universe.
Maybe. Maple Leafs, not so much. Trump apparently estimated the trade deficit with Canada is about $100 billion. What people don't realize is Joe Biden increased tariffs on Canada during his presidency. On a few products, not all. Yeah, there you go, Jarrett. Quebec couldn't afford to be part of the U.S. because of the transfer payments that go from wealthy provinces to not so wealthy provinces.
Scott Tomko says New England states want to go to Canada. Maybe we should make a switch.
I think if you traded, here's the problem.
They don't do anything.
I mean,
Those states.
Oh, the only provinces we would really want as part of the U.S. Alberta, which
has oil,
has oil and ranching, and which we get all our oil from anyway. I mean, I think somewhere like 60% of imported crude oil comes from Alberta.
It's kind of north and west of South Dakota, just right above.
Right above South Dakota. Yeah, it shares a part. Well, Saskatchewan shares a part border with South Dakota.
Right.
But Alberta and Saskatchewan might be the only two provinces we would want. Maybe Manitoba. They tend to maybe carve out a piece of Manitoba
You
so
almost
Johnny
said it,
Houghton
Manitoba,
could become.
You almost did.
I was going to go there, but I didn't. Maybe carve out that southwestern portion of Manitoba so Johnny Houghton could join us.
But we don't know exactly where Johnny lives. He's kind of off the grid.
And he's kind of
Heavily armed.
well and through the border all the time anyway, so we don't know.
He's MI7.
I mean, you know, had no idea. Yeah, Saskatchewan has a lot of potash too, and you need that. That's how you make your 21-7-14 blend.
Are we trying to figure out what parts of Canada we want to
But I was going to say, basically, you end up nobody really wants British Columbia because that's just Washington and Oregon further north.
Right.
We don't want that craziness. Toronto and Ontario could be interesting as far as it would give us all of Niagara Falls. The good part of Niagara Falls would then become American.
I've thought about giving everything from Sacramento north to Canada along that coast, and then everything from say Los Angeles south you could give to Tijuana. And then that middle part of
Do you run it down the San
California-
Andreas fault line though and keep everything that's to the east of California where actually, you know, the conservatives of California live?
Good.
Joe Gomez says as long as they can still listen to Rush, they'd be fine.
Right.
Today's Tom Sawyer. Nicely played, sir.
Yes, sir. Did you watch any of that Monday Night Football game?
I watched a little bit of it.
I did not.
The Browns were. It was interesting.
Who won that game?
I went to bed before I could see the final score, but let's find out right now.
How about it?
Scroll.
How about the Detroit Lions?
Broncos
being
came back to
11-1?
win 41-32. Just Jameis Winston threw for almost 500 yards and 4 touchdowns for Cleveland.
Jameis Winston's looking like a quarterback that, like, where's he been? Like, he ought to be playing.
Wow, yeah.
That guy's so old. He's been playing since Jimbo Fisher was a good coach.
Troy Aikman was talking about how this was a guy that threw 30 interceptions a year until he got hooked up with
Playing Madden all the time. He learned how to run, how it works.
Got hooked up with Sean Payton in New Orleans as a backup to Drew Brees, learned how to be a quarterback again.
There you go. The great thing about being a quarterback is now it's very, very serviceable. You just play till you're 40. It's no big deal because nobody gets hit. Quarterbacks don't get hit
You
anymore.
can't even fall into the quarterback's legs without getting
No,
roughing
that's
the
a penalty.
passer. Penalty.
So as long as you can throw, and you think about it, like a major league, Justin Verlander's 42 years old. He throws 100 pitches a night.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston only threw it 58 times last night, and he only pitches once a week.
Heavier ball.
A little bit, but the logic is solid.
Very similar.
You're not throwing enough,
No.
you know.
Yep. First day bank hockey half minute. Dallas Stars 2-1 winners over Utah.
Maple Leafs beat the Blackhawks. I'm surprised that's still, I mean, that's offending so many people. I'm surprised they still let them call themselves Blackhawks. If hockey was more popular, I'm sure there would be outrage.
There's no outrage.
Then there's the Devils. And why are they the New York Rangers? What are they ranging over? There's no range in New York.
Their first owner was from Texas.
Is that true?
And he liked the Texas Rangers.
Is
That's
that true?
That's why their colors are red, white, and blue.
That's true.
That is true.
Isn't that interesting? That just. Peter McNally says, and in fairness, he says Toronto and Montreal are both great cities for tourists.
I've heard that, yeah.
Yep. Scott Tucker says, ask Trevor Lawrence about being hit, but it was a penalty. That was just another running play for Troy Aikman. Think about that. That just wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. Well, Trevor Lawrence, A, he's playing for Jacksonville, and B, I don't think he's that.
No, Joe Gomez says the days of Roger Staubach are over. Blasphemy, sir. Blasphemy. I'm going to go get my bottle. Hang on. I'll show you my bottle.
So, the U.S. Supreme Court yesterday heard a case challenge. Oh, yeah, there we go. Look at this. You think that's actual Dr. Pepper in there, or is that just one of those colored bottles?
No, I've had that.
Oh, and that's sugar-free.
I've had this since I bought this at Dick's Food Store. This is a commemorative Roger Staubach bottle. It's glass. Never been opened. It still has the little twisty seal. And it says
we
here,
can fix that real quick.
Roger Staubach, quarterback, Dallas Cowboys, 69-79. And it goes right through 63 Heisman Trophy, 64 Maxwell Award, active duty in the U.S. Navy from 65 to 69. Yada, yada, yada. 73 NFL passing champion, 76 and 7 and 8, Pro Bowl.
71, he was the NFL passing champion.
Yeah, there you go. So it just goes on and on.
78, he was the NFL passing champion. 79, he was.
His career at the time, this is in 79 when this was made. He's the NFL's top-rated passer of all time. His career one-loss record was 95
and 35.
Yeah, 96 and 35.
96 and 35.
Quarterback in 4 Super Bowls. He accounted for 23 fourth-quarter comeback victories, including 14 in the final 2 minutes or overtime. The Roger Staubach commemorative sugar-free, not diet Dr. Pepper, mind you, sugar-free.
Oh, yeah, it was sugar-free back then. Yeah.
There you go.
Cool.
That thing
You might want
weighs
to put
10
that back.
pounds.
We don't want to. I would hate to see it get knocked
Look,
off
when you
the
move
table.
it, it's still got bubbles in there. I bet if you opened it, it would still go. Psst. I'll give that to Commander Cody.
Keep shaking it.
Yeah, no, I don't want to shake. It might blow up.
John Paul Hall says he's drinking that the next time he sneaks in and changes the mic levels.
Yeah, well, that's okay because we've been siphoning out of your huge bottle of vino in there every morning. Ash and I now take communion before the show.
By the way, you need more crackers.
Right, we need those water
cheese.
crackers, those crackers that have no flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A nice marbled cheddar would do well to pair with that wine.
There you go. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Tell you folks about USA Concrete
Congress
Coating.
is doing.
Charlie Garcia and his team will come out and give you a tough as nails polyurethane coat that won't crack, stick, peel, or fade. They will help you with sidewalks, patios, pool decks, whatever you need. Call them at 578-HOME, H-O-M-E. Get an estimate. Just let them show you what they can do. Veracruz today, the day before Caldo Wednesday, is the day to get in. Full menu. You will love the best Tex-Mex in town. Palace Bingo on the 12th. That's a Thursday.
That is a Thursday.
That's where friends meet friends. Get into Palace Bingo. You'll love it. We have a blast. You have a blast with us. And like Ash last time, won a game all by himself. It's interesting. They take taxes out. I can't figure that out. Chesnick Furniture Company. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Get in and see why you just always do better at Chesnick. Bobby Leon and his family serving you and yours for generations, over 100 years. Get in and check on them. Paravita Wellness. I picked up my meals yesterday.
I did
you?
too, yep. And Erica says she's going to be in here probably next week talking a little bit about some of the new stuff.
That she's not coming. She always says she's going to come in, but she's not.
She's just around the corner. She can drive her golf cart.
She could drive her golf cart over
walk
here.
if she wanted to. If it's nice enough morning.
Paravita for life. Get in and get healthy. And then the office is at 205. Beautiful property up here. Come upstairs. Come check it out. You're welcome to come up during the show. Cody is
sit in the green room.
A guide and a bouncer. If he needs to, he'll fire you back down the stairs.
Absolutely.
But in general, he'll show you around. We have a beautiful lobby. You're welcome to sit. And Ash sometimes signs autographs for little kids out front after the show. And then, of course, sometimes he doesn't. Depends on the mood he's in.
And whether or not you're giving me $5 an autograph.
There you go. We got the little table set up. Yep. We sign on Wednesdays, kids. We sign on Wednesdays.
So we can go to Caldo Wednesday.
Right.
So the Supreme Court yesterday, a couple of Supreme Court things that are interesting, and we'll get to them both here in a second. But the first one was FDA wants to block flavored e-cigarette products, more commonly known as vapes.
Interesting. They don't act on cigarettes for 300 years, but now they want to make a big deal about vapes. Okay. I don't do either, but it seems a little hypocritical.
FDA says that the flavored vapes are being targeted to kids.
Just make it illegal to sell it to kids. What am I missing?
Products called Rainbow Road, creme brulee. I don't know any kid that goes into it anywhere
I'd like
and wants a
creme
creme brulee.
brulee,
It just
please.
doesn't happen. Give them something bubble gum. Give them, some tutti frutti. They're into that. They're not going to have a creme brulee.
Currently, roughly 6% of middle and high school students use e-cigarettes, with nearly 90% of those consuming flavored brands.
Well, I've never vaped. I don't want to. But what would you be tasting if it didn't taste like something?
Right.
Right? You'd just be sucking in a bunch of air
Yeah.
with nicotine. I can't imagine nicotine on its own has a good flavor.
No, I would imagine it's bitter. What gets me is when I was in school, roughly 6% of middle and high school kids smoked. I would say roughly 6%. I just made that number up, but I did it to make you think, do we really need the Supreme Court involved in that? I'm an entrepreneur. I'm building a product. If you're still allowing me to sell cigarettes in a convenience store that we know has been linked to cancer, just seems a little bit overkill.
And then the Supreme Court tomorrow will hear a case on whether or not we should be paying for transgender surgeries for minors.
Right.
And they're making a big deal about it.
How did he get here so quick?
I don't know. Because now they're saying the first transgender attorney will make arguments before the Supreme Court, will be the first transgender. If this is so normalized, why is it a big deal? If being transgender is normal, why is it a big deal that a transgender attorney is now going to argue before the Supreme Court for the first time?
Right. I don't get that either. It's like if you're transgender and your attitude is, hey, look, this is just the way I choose to live my life. I'm not looking for any notoriety. I'm not looking for any special favors. I just don't want to be discriminated against. Then wouldn't you just show up to the Supreme Court and plead your case in your Jimmy Choo pumps in a size 13?
Although in this case, I think it's the other way.
This is
He's showing up in Bostonian dress shoes. Yeah.
It's a chick becoming a dude. Whatever. So
Totally has become.
I have a question. I'm going to pose this question to Scott Taylor.
And this coming on the heels of a report from the Daily Caller that showed that the Biden administration has spent about 165. Well, shouldn't say that. This goes back to part of Trump's era as well, but $165 million in gender transition services, with about $45 million of that spent on interventions for children 17 and under.
Interesting. Give me a microphone over there.
16 states spent that kind of money.
I need mic 3, and there's camera 3.
Hey.
We're joined by our buddy Scott Taylor. Hello, friend. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen.
So I have a question for you. We'll get to your stuff in a minute. We have lots of time.
I see what I walked in on here.
Well, we're trying to get a feel for. So I read a deal that said that of transgender folks, I don't know what pops into your mind. To me, it's a guy in a dress as opposed to a girl in a suit. But it says among transgender folks, what percentage was it, Ash, that identified as gay? Was it?
I don't remember.
There was a significant percentage who said, yes, I'm gay. But I think a majority say, I'm not gay. I'm just transgender. I'm sincerely lost. I want to give you a scenario, and there's no punchline here. I'm asking you as like my man on the street. If I'm a guy and I put on a skirt, but I'm not gay, does that mean that I still have sex with women? I'm not gay.
Isn't that just cross-dressing?
I guess. Okay, so that's fair, because I don't know which one is gay. If you're a guy that puts on a skirt and you have sex with men, are you gay? Or are you, I don't know.
I wouldn't think so.
Okay. All right. So I'm trying to, it doesn't affect any of us. You know anybody that's a cross-dress or trans person?
I play the fifth.
I've seen you with earrings on when you didn't know anybody was watching.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I have.
I mean, I had earrings when I was young.
Had longer hair too. I mean, he was on that road. episode.
Only because I know he's listening. On the phone.
Speaking of, I mean, that's almost a great little parallel, and not a parallel, but speaking of a guy in some women's panties, leading to the announcement of the show that we're doing, that is going to be the picture that's on the birthday cake for our birthday boy. I can't wait.
So yeah, tell the folks what your show is. Hang on, Adam. Tell the folks what your show's going to be.
December 18th, we're going to be just around the corner from here, the Wade and Carter show. No, December 18th.
The 18th.
December 18th, a Wednesday, we're going to be at Moonshine Drinkery, just like, I mean,
Old
we were the house band there on Wednesdays for I don't know how many years, and beers and fireball shots, but we're going to rehash it out. We're going to celebrate Alan Miller and Janet Miller's birthdays. They're on the 15th and 16th. And so we're going to throw a birthday party. We've got a few tables left. They're going to be $50 a table. There is no cover. But if you wanted to reserve a table, we want it. I mean,
nice.
That's
awesome.
Awesome.
That's how we're doing that part. You can call me for that. I don't know how many we have left. I got to go through my list, but 361-655-7454. I got Venmo and Cash App. We can square that up, get you guys in, and no cover. It's going to be all the boys on stage. David Stockton on bass, Everett Wood on drums, Sean Brett on guitar, Mike Parker on harmonica, and Billy Joe High on steel. So
right there.
When's the last time you all played together?
Christmas, wasn't it?
No, it's actually been since Turkey Fest, either 3 or 4 years ago on my birthday. I don't remember if it's when I turned 40 or 41. It was one of those.
Well, you know that I have an affinity for all of
because everybody
those
celebrates
guys.
their 41st with a big blowout, like Turkey Fest.
You know I like all of those guys.
Oh,
but
yeah.
when you throw Billy Joe in there, you all of a sudden you've got a serious band.
So Billy Joe.
Jennifer Rayburn wants number 361.
655-7454. Me and Billy Joe go back to 1997, 96 with Rhythm of the Road is when we met. Obviously, we were both teenage boys.
Yeah.
And making music together. And so he's the longest musician friend that I've had, and one of the most special. And it's always a good time to get him back on stage. So when I posted the little teaser, a guy commented, "Hey, Billy Joe going to be there." And Billy said, "Well, if I get invited," I mean, I was on the phone within 30 seconds going, "Oh, so you want to, let's do this." I mean, of course. So we're going to bring on the steel guitar. It's going to be a good
John
night.
Paul Hull says, "I'm pretty sure I've seen Scott Taylor Band more than Scott Taylor." Yeah.
Well,
He may be saying he's seen the band more than he's seen you.
I get it. Well, he was running the place at that time.
And there were times that the Scott Taylor Band played and you may not have even known it.
It's possible that I got to use the restroom every once in a while.
We were younger.
But in your defense, you're in front of the band. You don't look and see
them.
That's
very true. It's just like the Waylon tune.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Unbelievable. So you had to go over this morning. We forgive you. You had to go to another station first.
And Laura and JP told me to tell you hello.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was fun to hear my music on the radio again, because it's been a long time, and it's, dear to my heart. It was always a big part of my life for a long time. So
it still is.
It still is, but I mean, we've been raising kids and doing the school stuff and working. I love my job. I love real estate. I don't even call it a job really, but it's been really, there's that nostalgia.
Throw those on.
Hearing a tune on the radio again, like, man, we chased it hard.
Throw those headphones on.
I hear it. I can hear it coming out of your headphones.
It might not be going where it's supposed to be going at the moment.
I don't know where it's going.
It's on your phone.
I got Adam Sugar on hold. I think push that phone deal up and see what Adam has to say.
Oh, here we go.
Adam, you got something to
wait,
share?
let me put these on.
It's not Adam. It's Scott's oldest groupie.
I gotta hear what this guy says.
Scott's oldest groupie.
I'm
No,
bringing all the oldest groupies out.
I can't hardly hear him in my
He says he's going to bring all the old groupies
Adam's
up.
never even seen me on stage before.
Oh, he's gone.
He hung up.
He hung up. Typical.
I think you blew the bit when you.
When I said it was Adam. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. We were talking about trannies and the way
he needs to
people
get to
dress.
work anyway.
There you go. Everything else is good.
Everything is
Tell
great.
folks you might as well plug. You might
Oh
as well
yeah.
plug
So
the real estate.
what I do want to plug today is I've got one of the most beautiful homes that I've ever listed in the market here in Victoria, Texas. It's a custom build, 2012 Steve Klein custom home. It's at 107 Sky Court. And it's the home of my dear friend here, Mr. Carter.
Oh yeah, it's for
Yeah,
sale.
if y'all haven't
I was
seen it,
saying,
check
I want
it
to buy
out.
it. I want to buy it.
Well, you
I
did.
already did.
They're better.
Anyways, now I'm with Coldwell Banker, Dan Harper, and life is good. So,
It's,
there's
those were
You're
good
welcome.
times. I was groupie
great
number
times.
6.
You were groupie number 6.
I remember I told Scott one night, I said, that's it, man. I'm a groupie. I'm hooked. I'll be here.
I think we put the gray hair on each other.
Yes, sir.
during those
And,
times.
and you told me you're groupie number 6. If we can do this a while longer, maybe we'll get to double digits.
That's true.
Adam Sugar says, man, he's handsome. Any chance he could borrow Chase's ladder?
Right? Yeah, that's nice.
He's turn it. How do you turn him on?
He's yeah. He's just not right. This guy.
I'm not really good on. I'm not as good on ladders as you are, Adam. I know you've got
exactly.
almost as much experience as Chase. So
Well, we're looking forward to. We will be there.
December
I'll be there.
18th.
December the 18th.
yeah,
That's my
December
dad's
18th.
birthday.
Come out. Oh, doors open. Well, the doors open. I think at 4 or 5, but we're going to take the stage at 8 o'clock. So
9.
it's going to be limited. You know, Bozite. When we hit 140, 150, we're shutting the doors. So I would not hesitate getting over there early.
Little early.
Get you a spot.
Sure.
If you showing up at 9 o'clock, you might get turned away. So
Dawn just said, "Hi, Scott."
hi, Donnie. Good morning. So, anyways, yeah, get there early. Let's have a cocktail together. I can't wait
5
to see.
seconds.
Can't wait to see all the faces I haven't seen in a long time. It's good. It'll be fun getting back on stage. So.
It's not
Nice.
quite as bad as the Drifters. You know, when you go to the Drifters concert and everybody's got a walker on the stage, you tennis balls.
This is not a reunion show. This
Right.
is just a birthday party.
There you go. It's
So,
gonna be a good one. Celebrate Alan Miller.
we're gonna scratch the
How
itch
old
a
is
little
Alan gonna
bit.
be?
73, 74. I don't remember.
Someone that probably
Older than dirt.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
yeah. He may have his walker there, but
Remind him to wear a pearl snap shirt.
oh gosh.
He will have his walker there. Janet will be beside him, making
Yeah.
sure he doesn't
Yeah.
fall over.
Unbelievable. Well, we're looking forward to it.
So one of the first times meeting Alan over there at Moonshine Drinkery, and I didn't know him. You know, he rolls up. He's got the black Corvette that said Wild Thing, and he gets out. And I realized why I put Wild Thing on there. We partied down that night, and he calls. I'm like, you sure you're good to drive? He goes, don't worry about this. And the wrecker shows up and loads up the Corvette, and he hops in the passenger seat. And I'm like, that is a rock star.
That's my man right there.
That's how you do it.
That was the genesis of Alan's wrecker service. He needed a ride home one night.
That's it.
So fun. And I remember being there one night when you had something going and he got all full of the spirit and
Oh, yeah.
and Adam, and he stood up, Ash, and he was wearing his pearl snap shirt. And he just like ripped it open. He ripped open his pearl snap shirt. Except it wasn't a pearl snap
It was
shirt.
not a pearl
And he
snap,
ripped
no.
6 buttons off the front of his shirt. And he never missed a beat, did he? He just stayed there all night.
I can't wait to show y'all the birthday cake.
I can't wait to be there. All right, folks. So that's December.
Hey,
the
thanks for
18th.
having me.
Hey, we love
I appreciate
you. You can come
you
back
guys.
anytime. And yeah, no, you're
Thank you,
perfect.
Scott.
We'll let
Looking
you,
forward to that show.
We'll let you sneak.
Yep.
And you can walk right under. No problem. Or you can just hang. We're off in 2 minutes. Now, I thought it was interesting that Peter McNally said that we spent too much time talking about things. I guess the transgender thing bored him.
Well,
It was
wouldn't
news,
have,
though.
but you know who's pushing that? All your mainstream media sources, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, making a big deal about this.
That's right. We're just sharing the news. We don't make the news.
No, absolutely not. Interestingly enough, yesterday, Stellantis' CEO decided to quit. Stellantis auto sales down substantially this year. And Intel CEO abruptly retired yesterday as well.
There's a lot of CEOs leaving. Are they thinking that I mean, you would think they would all be staying, right? That Trump's going to make them richer.
I don't
Maybe
know.
he's going to crack down on
Maybe they
some
know,
things.
or they know something we don't know. Maybe things aren't as rosy as the Biden administration has been painting them. I think
Doubt if anybody knows something we don't know.
I think it'll be interesting tomorrow. I think ADP's job numbers come out, and then November's revised job numbers will be out on Friday, which is always interesting because it seems that the Biden administration this last year has had to revise those job estimates the other way, to the tune of over $1 million or 1 million jobs that they've over-reported being created by this economy.
Do you remember who it was that we missed a significant death over the weekend? I don't remember who it was. Somebody died at 99. It was. So I went, oh wow, that's interesting.
Moana 2 broke the all-time 5-day Thanksgiving Day weekend at U.S. domestic box office, $225 million in its debut. That just tells me parents were trying to do anything to keep their kids entertained for a couple of hours, or maybe pawn them off on somebody else for a couple of hours over the weekend.
Huh.
No clue.
I was just trying to.
Well, you know what? Best thing, it's the top of the hour. So you know what? You got it tomorrow. I don't know. What does that say there? I can't see.
I don't know.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, Luke Carneseca. That's right, the St. John's coach.
Basketball coach.
All right, folks.
We're out of here. We'll
Hope
see
you
you
guys
all
have a
tomorrow.
great day.
Bye, folks.
Love to all. Bye, folks.
I've been shot and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's